Okay, good day. So this is just a tutorial on how to do the survey documents. What I've done is I've pulled the premise data into, from one map, and then I've run the HLD KML process model step 1. After running that model, I added everything into KML and I got the even and the NAD here. So what I'm going to do next is I have run this before and it gave me an error. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to run this buffer. I'm going to make it 0.0. I'm going to put about 6 zeros there. And then I'm just going to add a 1 and I will dissolve this result. So when you run this, it should give you just an output like this. What you'll notice is that you're going to have some blocks which are kind of big, and for instance this one is going all the way down and in this section. So I'm just going to see where I can separate that if I can. It doesn't really look like it. So yeah, I'll just have to run with that. This is a survey document, not the planning. So when you do the planning, you'll want to separate the blocks. But for a survey document, that isn't as critical. So what I'll do next is under HLD KML process, the step 2 block polygons. I'm just going to run that off of this buffered layer, and I'll use my normal premise data and see how this works out. So blocks, I just want to replace that. Let's see. Okay. So what we've got here is a bunch of blocks. This one is melded together, but it's not a really big issue because it's going to show this whole area. Okay, so now that you've got the blocks and everything laid out, what I suggest you do is just remove this buffered layer, and then you need to load in your roads. So for the roads, I'm going to go to our planner resources, QGIS, and I'm just going to pull in the latest roads layer here. Let me just see. This is from the 21st of the 4th, so that is fairly new. Let's just take the road shape and the railway shape. So these two. Since there's a few railways in what area is it? Soweto. I just like to pull these in. And what you'll also see is that the roads layer is 400 meg, so it might take a bit to just pull it in. Okay, so what I've got now is my railways. The railway, I'll just make a railway, and roads I'll turn into roads. I think I'll rather make it special roads, and then for the roads as well, labels, single labels, and it will be street names. Okay. So it does seem like there is no street names here. I'm just going to load in this. Okay, looks like there should be street names, so I'm not sure why it's doing that. Let's see if we can figure it out. Street map, turn that layer off. Just gonna wait for this. Okay, so guess I can just turn this off as well. Remove layer. Okay, I just didn't wait for it to render. So there we've got all of the street names. So those shouldn't be an issue. Okay, then you'll also notice here we've got a little road running through here, but I think that's just a pedestrian road, so it's not going to be something to really worry about. Next, blocks and urban. I see that was misspelled, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then the blocks, I'm just going to make the blocks the same as the urban layer. Maybe just make that line a bit thicker. So 0.4. Don't need to use that much ink. Okay, so now we've got the block layer here, and it's just the nav that's remaining. No symbol, and label is premise data. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, so one thing we can see here is that it does require a bit of space for all of the data to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull in the QGIS template for an overview, and I'll create this. Let's see, this will be Kloof survey overview, and then we don't need the background, and we don't really need these. Let's just remove it like that. We can put this in the corner, and we can resize this a bit. Now if I go back to my overview, what I can do is I can just zoom to layer here. It's going to pull in everything, and because I'm using the overview template, it will pull it into a large scale. So scale is setting at 2200. Just waiting for it to update, and there we've got the overview. I'm thinking what we can even do here is go to page properties, and let's make it an A0, but turn it into portrait, and then resize. And if we go to the map now and select import like that, let's see what we get. Is it going to change or not? Not really, so we can just turn this into a nice large, whoops, zoomed in way too much, overview. Okay, so I'm just going to make this 1500 on a manual scale. Let's see. Okay, looks like it pulled in fairly well. It's just taking a bit to render. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to go Control and zoom out with the mouse wheel to make the increments a bit less. Let's see. Okay. So just one more increment, and it should turn out correctly. Okay, so there we've got a decent overview. Some of these do seem like they are going across the lines, but there's not really much we can do about that on this large of an image. Okay, I see, it's because it's untitled place marks. So this will just be a good overview for them to see what they are actually looking at. Okay, and then what I also want to do is I just want to see about the block labels. Let's have a look here. Okay, so yeah, these look like they're okay for what we want to do. I'm just going to leave them like that, except I'm going to make this the name only and apply. Okay, so now it's only showing the block number. Okay, that's looking fine now, and what I want to do next is go for a specific layout on an A3 size and create. This will be deep curve blocks. Well, deep curve survey blocks. Okay. So what I'm going to do again is I will just remove this picture background, and I can also just move this out of the way. So I will just put this into the corner and can even just do that. Then resize this, and I think I'll just turn on a background for this so that it's easy to see. Yeah, I'll keep it on white. Okay, so what we need to do next is link this to an atlas for the blocks. So what you'll notice is you can't use this atlas preview. This does happen once or when you've newly created the layout, but if you just close it and go back to the survey blocks, then you can actually see what everything will look like. So here you've got a block view, and I think that should allow you to, this will allow you to do a export per block. And then let's just go ahead with it, and then I'm just going to move it to I'll just move it to a temporary folder under my downloads where I saved the blocks, just so that it works quickly. And everything here is alright, so save. This will take a bit because, as you can see, it's doing an exporting of 90 different layouts, so you just need to let it run, and once it's done you can just upload that to a survey. Then the same with the overview, you can just do a export here, and then everything should be fine. What I do recommend, however, is not doing both at the same time, because it might cause some issues. Your machine is going to be a lot slower whilst you're doing this, so just let it run before you try and do anything else, and you should be okay. Yeah, so that will be it. And then once you've done these, like I said, you can send them off to the surveyors, and they'll be able to do the survey that they are being paid to do.